Welcome to episode 57 of The Leap Home. Justice.
In this week's episode, Sam has to subvert the activities of the Ku Klux Klan and ensure a young man is not lynched. With Al pushing him to play along with the group, Sam finds what is required of him more and more distasteful, until he puts himself in conflict with his fellow Klansmen. With lives under threat, can he persuade his comrades to set their racism aside? Or is he taking on a hopeless task?
I'm just here to try and help you,
It's
huh?
the Lord.
What? No, I'm not the Lord.
It's Abraham Lincoln. No, it's not. He's a bear. That's some crazy white people.
Good afternoon, Ian. How are things?
Not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
I'm a bit of a crazy white man.
Yes,
Yeah, well,
like Abraham Lincoln.
apart from the beard and the hat.
You're just
And the racism.
Well, talking about racism,
We will be.
we're back here again. Time is a flat circle.
I'm assuming that next week is going to be a baseball episode.
Almost certainly.
What-
Certainly.
It must be one episode where there's a bit of racism in baseball. What would that be? Who's a famous
Oh, you probably have like the first black player,
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson, coming into the major leagues.
peak
Like, we're
quantum
talking
leap?
about the Negro Leagues. They were
Okay.
a big deal.
Mm.
Sam had a new haircut this week. Not entirely sure how that happens when you're leaping.
Did he?
Yeah, it was shorter.
Was it? Still a bit floppy.
They don't explain.
No.
He got to do his run that you like so much.
Hate it. He's such a poor runner.
Before we get into this social media activity, you can find us at Leap Home Podcast on Twitter/X and Facebook. You can find us at theleaphome.com, where there's show notes for each episode. And a week before you can do that, you can find each and every episode on our YouTube channel, Columbo Podcast Productions, where it's early access for people who go along that way.
Do you know what I forgot last week?
Did you forget to lead us seamlessly into the discussion?
I did.
What about now then?
Let's crack on.
So we've got a slight change to the wee intro bit. So that, not the generic bit, but the start of the episode, we've got Sam being inducted into the Klan. But at the end of last week's episode, the guy in the red outfit called himself the Royal Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
But this week he's the Grand Dragon. So they obviously found out somewhere along the line that his real title should be one or the other.
How sure are you about that?
97%.
Did you check?
I did, because I've written it down in last week's notes as Royal Dragon.
Okay. Yeah, we find that sometimes they do tweak.
The Royal Dragon sounds more like a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. I would say I'm 95% sure I've eaten there myself at some point.
It's not as good as they have in the Masons here with the most worshipful masters.
And the leader of the goats or whatever it is.
After the standard credits, we are in a field on the 11th of May 1965. It's morning after this evening event.
Yeah, so we should say that Sam obviously at first doesn't know what's going on. Maybe he's about to be murdered or in some way assaulted, but no, he's being made a fully paid up member of this hate group.
Indeed. So he gets a reasonably good idea of who he has leaped into just from that.
Must be a massive racist.
Must be.
So it's now the morning, yeah, the next day.
It seems to have been an all-night event
Yes, well, I think you tend to do these things, I'd imagine,
in the dead of night.
that when you're not going to be caught or seen.
It's carried on till breakfast time, and we see some conversations as Sam is welcomed into the group.
Yeah, the rest of the racists, they're sort of packing up and heading home, and a couple of a bit of banter with Sam, and as they do, they refer to him as Clyde,
Yes, that's his name.
which is quite appropriate considering Scotland has a shameful history with regard to the inception of the Klan in America. I think it was founded by a Scots person.
Who probably worked on the Clyde or left
Yeah.
down the Clyde.
Yeah.
It's also one of the ghosts in Pac-Man.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these other two guys, a bald guy called Tom and a ginger guy called Grady, are discussing Tom's brother Bo, who hasn't shown up recently.
Yeah, can I just say that throughout this episode, I'm never sure which one's which. These races, they all look the same, to be perfectly honest. You know, these sort of balding, white, just knuckle dragger types, yeah. I mean, yeah, fair enough, you've got the ginger one, but the other ones, I don't know who's who.
I mean, the ginger one's very famous.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Anyway, yes, the reason that Bo has not been showing up is not because he has been waning in his racism. It's because he's got a sore foot that he might lose. Karma, some might say.
Yeah, and this injury is going to affect their harvesting, I think.
I think they said he's got trench foot.
Right.
And he's not going to be able to bring in the crops from his land, and so a lot of them will go to waste this year.
And I think, is it the Grand Dragon, the Grand, whatever he's called, does he offer to help?
Well, no, it's Grady's idea originally. He suggests to Jean, the Grand Dragon, Great Dragon, Master Dragon, call him Grand Dragon, the dragon, who gets all the other guys to come together and say, yes, we will do this, but there's some discussion about whether it should be after church or instead of church on Sunday. And we get to see there's just a group of good old lads, you know, they're all joking and laughing and helping one another out regular people do.
Probably doing a lot of good work for charity.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
An unimpressed Al turns up just as the Grand Dragon takes Sam aside and tells him how proud he is of him and that he always thought of him as a son. And not just because he married his daughter Lily.
And not just because he lost his actual son.
But because they have the same fight in them, the same belief.
They're on the same team, yes.
Yeah.
I liked Al's green hat.
Yeah, nice.
Very stylish. Only Al could pull that off.
Very few.
Put that on Sam, it would look ridiculous.
Of course.
Or almost anybody else.
The dragon, he offers his hand to Sam, which he is understandably reluctant to shake, but Al tells him to do so until he knows why he is there. And I think we see this throughout this episode. Sam doesn't really want to play this role, and Al has to encourage him. You know, he can't act as how you'd like.
We see this in a lot of episodes where Al is kind of cajoling Sam to do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. It's just a bit more distasteful for Sam on this occasion.
Yeah. More often than not, it's to do things with a woman or not do things with a woman. And
quite often Al's wrong.
Yeah.
When he does these and make these suggestions. Anyhow, everyone in the group raises a glass to Sam, but he tells Al that he can't do it and runs into the woods and pulls his robes off.
Yeah, before he rips off the cloak of shame, we see that Sam sees himself in the car wing mirror. And now alone, Sam and Al are able to discuss his situation.
Hey, Sam. Hey, slow down a little bit, will you? You're making me jumpy.
What am I doing here in whatever it is?
It's 1965. It's May 11th, to be exact, and we don't know why you're here.
What are you doing here?
Well, I came to check on you when I heard this guy Clyde in the waiting room reciting the oath of the Klan.
This stands for everything my parents told me to fight against, Al. I can't change these people.
Well, maybe you're not here to change them. Look, we're going to find out what you're here to do, then you're going to do it, and then you'll be history. Okay? So take it easy. Just take it easy. I'm going to go find out what it is you're here to do. Back as quick as I can, all right? Now, don't lose it.
In all my leaps, I don't think I had ever felt more confused by the people I had leapt into. There was part of me that liked Jean and Tom and Grady. They were farmers, just like my parents were, simple people that cared about their families and about each other. And yet somehow, somewhere along the line, time passed them by, forgetting to tell them it was okay to let go of the hatred and the anger.
I'm not sure why Sam has so quickly decided that he likes these people.
Because they remind him of his own family. His
massive
parents
racists.
Well, apart from that part, that's what he's saying, that racists are people too. That's the lesson for this week's episode. That you shouldn't just write folk off because they hate people of other skin shades or religions.
Easily,
they can be good people.
Yeah, you can easily persuade them just by saying it's wrong, as Sam tries to do and has done in the past.
Even if you can't persuade them, even if they retain deep-rooted racism, they're still just decent people at heart.
Good country people.
I'm pretty sure that's the lesson.
I think so. We'll get there anyway. So we heard him there pulling up to his house where he's dropped off by the Grand Dragon, who's also, as we mentioned, Lily's father.
Jean. Sam gets a kiss from Lily, and she, yes, as you say, she calls Jean Dad, establishing the relationship.
She's quite cheerful. She's bursting with pride at Sam's induction. Now, you automatically assume that she's a massive racist, and there might be a twist, but it turns out she is actually a massive racist.
Yeah, that's it.
Jean reminds Sam to take his robes as he drives off, and Sam gets another kiss and is told how much he is loved by her.
Yeah, and there's an interesting twist here which they don't I think, pick up on enough. But Lily tells Sam he's a wonderful father and husband, and she's so pleased that he loves her enough to join her dad's hunting club. That's just a public phrase. She knows what it is.
Do you think she does?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she does.
No, I think she knows his views, but I'm not sure she knows.
Because when we talk to the kid later, he knows what the Klan is and what it's for and why it's good. So they must know. They call it the hunting club in public, but they know what it is. Right, sure. I mean, I suppose they probably are hunting. It's just, what they claim to be hunting and what they are hunting are different things. However, it's established here that Clyde did not want to do this. So that puts Sam in a position where he is not at odds with the person he's leapt into. Yes, apparently he has only done this for her and their son Cody. Yes, to protect them from the people of other racial backgrounds taking over their, obviously, society. I don't know. They sit down at a picnic table and they're served breakfast by their black maid Ada. Yeah, I should say that the most similar episode we've had to this previously is when he's the defence attorney, and his family are like, "Well, why are you sticking up for her? What's going on?" And that's slightly different because in that one, the guy he was leaping into wasn't anti-racist. Anyway, yes, as you say, Ada comes out and serves some food and comments on how Sam eats this shortcake the same way that her son Nathaniel does. Yeah, and then at this point, Sam does what he normally does. He mentions his own mother, or his own mother's cooking. Yeah, completely oblivious to the fact he's not himself, and these people know the person, or could know the person that he's leapt into his mother, and in this case do, because Lily says your mother can't cook anything. Yeah, she can't boil water, and he has to quickly change her skills to coffee making. Yes, which then leads Lily to be a bit gruff with Ada. Why? Because she asks if he wants the coffee that he's referred to, or if he'd rather have a glass of cool white milk. And Lily says, "You said coffee. On you go, make it." There's no compassion there. None at all. This is the part where this is the point where we realise she's not as pleasant and cheerful as, or tolerant in any way. No. Sam then gets a bit of a shock. Yeah, there's a gun poking around a tree. A rifle. But, well, I say but. Oh yeah, there's a bit of relief when it turns out to be his son, Cody. Yes. Their son. Who is reprimanded by Lily as she's told him not to point it at them. Not the fact that he's got a gun in the first place, but just don't point it at us. Yeah. Sam takes the gun and takes this opportunity to educate the child a little bit. Well, he says he's going to teach him to shoot later on, or when he's older. But apparently he promised he would do it that day. So he has to kind of pivot a little bit. However, there's a shocking moment. There is a shock, the first of several. Yes. Cody bleats that he needs a gun for protection, as his grandfather said there are N-words in the woods. Just as Ada returns with some drinks. I mean, dear me. And Lily looks quite confused as Sam insists that Cody apologise to Ada. Well, he's understandably disgusted. And Lily, she doesn't know why Sam's asking him to sort of take back these words. And what I don't understand is, if Clyde is so not racist, why has he allowed his son to... Why has he not had this conversation previously with him? This is the way I see it. Because I think that you actually, earlier when we were talking about this, you mentioned that you didn't understand how someone who was anti-racist could have married Lily into that family. Yeah. But I think we do, we're looking at it from our point of view, and even Sam's point of view from the 90s. But if you were born and brought up in that environment, you could be against something but not think it's shocking. So, like just now, you could be very pro-environmental. Sure. But you're not going to be shocked by people who drive, fossil fuel cars. You'd maybe be someone who's an activist, but it wouldn't. You don't think it's entirely. Maybe in 30 or 40 or 50 years' time, or even I suppose if you look back to 30 years ago, 20 years ago, you could be anti-smoking, but not be shocked by the fact that people were smoking all around you. I think that's fair. It's also maybe the case that although he's not as racist as the others, or even not racist, it's only a small part of his personality, and it's not something that's important to him because it's not relevant to most of his life. Yeah. So the difference between being shocked and disagreeing. So he wants to change how things are, but he's not shocked by the attitudes, and that would transfer to his own family. So he probably wouldn't have given his son this lecture. Probably not. Well, obviously not, because he feels comfortable using the language. Yeah. Anyhow, having been forced into an apology, Cody then runs off and is followed by his mother, and Sam apologises to Ada. Yeah, and she is obviously a bit upset
but accepts that Cody doesn't mean what he said and has only picked this, this up from his grandfather, which is true, and this is the sad thing, isn't it? This is how...
Generational stuff.
Yeah.
And you see it even today.
Well, not just in terms of racism, but all sorts of
intolerance.
Yeah. Where do we go next?
Town Hall, Courthouse.
Courthouse, I think it is, yeah. Sam's dropped off by Lily, and we hear him recount...
Well, he explains in voiceover how he tried to cure Lily's racism over breakfast.
This is typical of him. Firstly, there's a couple of times in this episode where he thinks, or he says, I can't do this. You're not here to try and wipe out racism. What sort of ego do you have on you that you're going to change people's opinions or attitudes, during this leap? It won't happen.
Well, he does say at one point it only takes one voice.
Yeah, that's just what people say. That's just birthday card. It doesn't take one voice. It takes many, many years and many, many voices. If it was one person doing it, then it would be simple. But point to the one person who's in history has ever. It doesn't happen. It's a movement required.
You can get figureheads, but
of course you can. But over many years, they're changing attitudes day by day and bit by bit.
Yeah, well, unsurprisingly, he has not cured her racism, despite trying for up to half an hour.
In any case, he wishes that he could simply find out why he's there so that he can do what he needs to do and leap out. And at this point, he's joined by a smirking scumbag friend. Who's this?
This is Tom. We saw him talking to Grady earlier on in the field.
Yeah, closely followed by two locals who are black men. One of them is a bit older, looking to register to vote.
Yeah, Sam tries to help them, but is interrupted by Tom, who says that he can deal with it here on the steps.
Yeah, he very patronisingly calls the older man boy, which is a typical racist...
Well, it's a power thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You're below me.
And he challenges him to answer two questions on the law that, no one, including the white locals, would be reasonably be expected to know. It's like, you see this quite a lot as well, I think, today. Maybe even in this country, but certainly in America, you've got to take this quiz on Americanism. But I think if you to ask...
Yeah, it was the same in the UK.
Yeah. You would have no idea. It's a bit like a driving test, actually. I mean, I'm unfortunately old enough not to have had to pass a theory test. Right. But looking at these, I think most people now, you look at the theory test, you go, I have no idea, I would fail that tomorrow. I'd fail my driving test tomorrow. I think, again, most people would. You go, I don't know how you're technically meant to do these things.
Okay. Anyhow, he does get these questions right, we think. I didn't check.
Oh, he does, yeah. Well, he's very confident in his answers, and Tom doesn't disagree. I think he's just annoyed.
He doesn't know, or...
Well, I think that's the point. He doesn't know himself. Yeah.
Anyway, Tom then takes the document from Sam and asks the older man to read it out.
Which he does. Sam is satisfied, but Tom makes up a law, I think, about minimum reading speed and doesn't like it when he is challenged on this.
No, he takes Sam aside and asks him if he forgot the oath that he took the previous night and tells him he thought this was all over now.
Yeah, he again uses the N-word several times, and I think that with Sam joining the Klan, he assumed that's why they wanted him to join. This is a way of getting him inside the tent, as it were. Yeah.
But Sam's not ready to back down, not when he's so close to ending racism for good.
At this point, Al arrives, and he's got some bad news.
Yeah, this young guy that's here, Nathaniel, is going to be lynched by Tom and the rest of the Klan guys.
Yeah, and on top of that, he is Ada's son.
Yes.
So we fade back in as Tom gives Sam a piece of his mind, and Al tries to help him keep things calm.
White folks have got to stick together or niggers will take over. Hell, they're outbreeding us now. Gene says in 30 years we'll be a minority.
Agree with him, Sam.
No. Yes. I'm starting to wonder whether giving you this job was such a good idea.
If you want to save Nathaniel, you got to get this jerk to think that you're on his side.
I can't.
You can't what?
Sam, it's like being behind enemy lines. If you want to spy on the enemy, you got to act and talk like the enemy so you can get the info to save the good guys, even if you have to do something hateful.
I can't let those register.
Hey, what's a man have to do to get a cup of coffee around here?
Hey, Otis.
That's all.
We were trying to register to vote.
You were being uppity with me.
If questioning your testing methods is getting uppity, then maybe we should have a look at the registration laws, assuming you can read them.
Whoa. Now, just hold your horses. Tell me, there ought to be something we could do.
I'd love to, Sheriff. But he has to pass the literacy test. Ain't that right, Clyde?
Enemy lines, Sam. The law is the law.
And, what does that law say, Clyde?
It says that, you boys have to go home and study a little bit harder, then you can come back and try again. Good.
But you only got 2 more chances till next election.
Clyde, why don't you show these fine gentlemen to their car? It's long ways, and I wouldn't want them to get lost.
Thank you, no. We can find it ourselves.
No, wait a second. No, you let me get you down there to your car, because it is a long way, and I'll just lead you down there, guy. It's right this way.
What's your thoughts on the use of the N-word in this episode?
Well, I don't think it adds anything.
It's a weird one, isn't it? They're obviously trying to be quite gritty and hard-hitting, but I'm not... See, the show tackles a lot of these serious subjects, and I think we've got some, in the next couple of episodes, an equally serious subject matter as well. But for me, maybe I'm looking at it from what TV is now.
Okay.
This is like a sort of lightweight, family TV show. I'm not sure if it has the right, as it were, to be tackling these subjects when... Yeah, it's not I don't know. I just think it's a bit of a sort of popcorny show. It's a bit of fun.
It shouldn't be so woke.
Nah,
that's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't know. I don't think it's the right type of show to be getting. I don't know. I think it sees itself as more serious than what it is.
Well, the problem I think is along the same lines. It's setting up these serious issues and saying we're going to tackle this issue, but they don't really tackle the issue.
No,
they kind of skim past it. They're like, well, we'll throw in these words. That shows how serious it is, but they're not dealing with it in a serious way.
I think you're right. I mean, you're tackling these subjects, and it's in a 45-minute episode, and we're showing
all smiles at the end.
Yeah, we're showing how gritty we are. Yeah, the white man saves the day in the end, and everything is cool. It's like I'm not sure if it is. Yeah, I just don't believe that it's a type. It's like you wouldn't have the A-team tackling this. They're certainly you're not. You don't have enough gravitas to do the subject matter justice.
Yeah. You understand what they're trying to do, but I just don't,
Maybe the TV was different back then. It was all network TV, didn't have...
Well, you can tell from the episodes that they have done and that they're going to do in this show that they felt that there were no limits to the subjects they should be able to tackle, and that this format perhaps gave them more scope to do that than a contemporary show set in the present day might do. But
it's a valiant effort, but I just don't buy into it.
There's just the fundamental issues of the format that don't allow you to do it the way that they're trying to do it.
No. Let's say, I believe we've got one coming up shortly. It's about a chimpanzee. I mean, that's the thing, you go from one type of episode to another in 45 minutes, you do the reset, and it's like, okay.
And also they keep coming back to this.
And baseball.
Well, yeah, but he didn't solve racism the first 3 times that he tackled it, and he still keeps trying to do it.
Yeah. Anyway,
without, I don't want to criticise the effort because
it's a worthwhile, obviously, it's a worthwhile cause, but
it's not possible to do what they're trying to do.
Anyway, alone now with Sam at their car, Nathaniel is raging as we discover that Sam was helping them, and it was he who told them to come down to register. They can't believe that he's now calling them N-words in front of people and think that this has been a set-up.
Yeah. He talked. Yeah, he's when they were in college, he's been writing to Nathaniel, telling him that things are going to change. He's going to be part of that change and all this. And now here he is insulting him.
Al has no data on what's happened, but it does look like Sam is an activist, and we hear that, as you say, he sent these notes to him.
And you think, okay, knowing that this is how Clyde behaves, it might help Sam. I don't think it really does. He doesn't really think about it again later on.
No.
He just sticks to being Sam.
An embarrassed Sam assures him that he didn't mean what he said a few moments earlier, but this doesn't really help the situation, and so they leave.
Well, before they do, Nathaniel throws some insults at Sam and asks him how he feels about it.
Yes. Yeah.
He says it still hurts, even if you don't mean it.
Indeed. After they've gone, I think Sam, he is sort of dumbstruck. He can't respond. There's nothing that he can say. He realises it.
Well, he's a bit unhappy with Al as well, because he thinks he's made a mistake, learning that Nathaniel's the guy he has to save, but now he's broken his trust by doing what Al suggested. So he's put himself in a trickier position than he was to begin with.
He eventually manages to admit that he feels like throwing up and is distraught with the fact that the man he is meant to save doesn't like him.
Yeah. But here's one of these things that we've talked about. We then get a comedy moment thrown in when the bald racist guy Tom sees Sam talking to an invisible Al. It's like, oh, look, he's made that mistake again.
Yeah.
The tone doesn't work.
Yeah, and again, sort of in this comedy moment, Sam has to throw in the N-word again. He says, "Yeah, I was shouting at some local kids, some local N-words, who were damaging or vandalising your car or something." So there's no need for that one.
Yeah. And the bemused Tom tells him that he appreciates his assistance.
I think Al tells Sam to get into the courthouse and find out what's on the worms' minds, how what's going down.
Yeah, the bit that Tom sees him doing is him talking about worms.
So, back at Sam's home, we're outside, and he's now emotionally and physically drained.
Yeah, we get a voiceover where he explains that he spent his whole afternoon rejecting black applicants from being able to vote, and he felt worse with each one, but still did it.
Yeah. He also had to listen to Tom continually make racist jokes.
Yes, he didn't like that either.
And his dismay is not helped as he walks by a water sprinkler.
Yes.
Which has a
caricature
on it, yeah. On the porch he sits and he helps Ada, who is stringing beans, and apologises for the incident with Cody earlier on.
Which he already did.
Yeah, but I think you would really feel quite... I would apologise more than once. I can understand that. She is resigned to the fact that it's just the way things are, but accepts that Sam himself never believed it, although he is only a single voice.
In a hurricane. We then get to the important part of this conversation where they talk about Nathaniel.
What's that?
So Sam asks Ada to try and help him stop Nathaniel from taking on the whole town. She says he's got the kind of spirit that you can't subdue, but Sam points out that, just because things aren't going at the speed you want them to. Sam's talking against his own arguments here. Anyway, he basically offends her by trying to get her to calm Nathaniel down a little bit.
She refutes the notion and claims that the Lord gives certain people the fire and desire to make a change, and mentions that he convinced her to try and register the next day as well.
It's true.
So he tells her he'll help her pass the test, but she must help him stop Nathaniel from trying to change things faster than what is natural.
Saying, but she won't.
No.
At this point, Cody makes things worse.
Well, she gets up to leave and gets a fright as the racist junior runs out with a Klan hood on and a gun, claiming to be a ghost.
Is he irredeemable at this point, this child?
No, because I think, as he mentions here, that he thinks this is a ghost costume. He doesn't know what he's wearing. He's just seen other people or been given it, yeah.
Sam takes the hood from him and explains it's not for playing with.
But he mentions that his friend Bill is allowed to wear one, and that he's also a member of the hunting club. His father is.
Sam explains to him that it's not a hunting club, and he says he'll explain a little bit later and teach him to shoot the gun.
So later, and after embarrassing himself with his own terrible shooting, Sam decides to broach the subject of the hate group.
Look, son, you know what it means to be in the Klan?
It means we're gonna stop the colors from taking over.
Taking over what?
I don't know.
You like Ada, don't you?
Yeah, she's nice.
Would you ever hurt her?
No. Why would I want to hurt Ada?
Maybe because her skin's a different color. Some people are afraid of things that are different. It's not just skin color. It could be religion or...
But then why didn't God just make everybody the same? Then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, see, now, that's exactly the point, Cody. It doesn't matter unless we make it matter.
But Grandpa says it matters.
His papa told him, and his papa before him told him, and nobody thought to say stop. See, it's up to you and me to say stop. This is wrong. Now, what do you say? Let's see if you can hit that can. All right? Duck your shoulder in there.
So as they're talking, Lily has walked over and heard what Sam was saying, and after sending her son inside, she chastises him for filling Cody's head with lies, apparently.
Sam argues that they're not lies. However, Jean shows up.
Well, he blusters in and tells Sam to hurry up, get his robes, they have a job.
Club business.
Oh, it sounds as if this is all going down.
It's a big hunt.
Yep. Al appears with the sinister confirmation that this is when they kill Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nathaniel's going to apparently lead a march through town tonight, and Jean and the racists will be waiting with their guns and their bats.
Sam offers to go and talk to him, but of course, the old dragon is not interested in dialogue.
Al at this point tells Sam the only way to save Nathaniel is to go along with this racism.
So we're in the woods, and as these bellends run around in their ridiculous gear,
They look ridiculous, don't they?
You can't. How you take yourself seriously?
I think one of them runs into a tree at one point.
Sam considers that terror knows no boundaries, and that he's found himself running not to a confrontation with Nathaniel, but to a more disastrous conflict.
Well, he's fearful it could end in conflict or in disaster.
So they burst into a suitably decorated scum shack.
Yeah, their little racist hut, I've called it.
Yeah.
And the little racists all armed and they're amped up, but then it turns out they're here just to surprise Sam and have a few drinks.
Well, yeah, it's his 1 day anniversary, which is used as an excuse to get away from the women folk and have a party.
Al tells Sam that history hasn't changed, but why would it? He hasn't done anything.
Exactly. Al, idiot.
Anyway, Sam
thinks, okay, at least I've got a chance now to.
His position has changed. He thinks, right, I'm in the best place here to deal with this.
However, things take a turn as Dragon Scum stops the music and announces that he has heard that Nathaniel and his N-word friends are going to be violently demonstrating in the town that night.
He calls this disparaging news, which I don't think is the right word.
No.
Anyhow, he asks the group, are they going to stand for this? And they all say no.
Yeah,
and he says, are you going to let these people defile our great white city? And they say no. And then they all head off, and Sam borrows Jean's car to go home and get his gun, because he obviously doesn't have his.
Well, under the pretense of going home to get his gun.
Yeah, but it's a plausible pretense.
Sure.
So Jean agrees to meet him at the courthouse, and Al tells Sam he's going to head to the church.
At the same time, we see Nathaniel inspire his group by quoting Martin Luther King as Sam and Al arrive.
You can't march.
We are entitled to express our opinions in a public forum. That right is guaranteed by the First Amendment.
This is not about the First Amendment. This is about angry, frightened men who want to make an example out of you.
Get him out of here.
They're waiting for you at the courthouse.
How do you know that?
'Cause he's in the Klan, that's how.
That's right, I am.
We're not afraid of you.
Well, you should be. We outnumber you 3-1. We got guns and God knows what else.
We're gonna tell the townspeople that we're not afraid of them. That we won't stand for injustice.
This isn't working, Sam. He still gets hanged.
I'm asking you to trust me.
I did, remember?
I was wrong. You come back tomorrow, I'll make all that right.
Oh, like you did this morning? No, thank you.
You're just trying to set us up again like you did at the courthouse.
Yeah! No, I'm not trying to set you up. I just don't want to see anybody get killed.
It'll be a peaceful march.
No, it won't. Klan's not gonna let it be.
Well, maybe we got a few surprises for them. Yeah! Let's go!
No, if you're gonna go, you gotta go through me.
You can't take us all on, Mr. Clyde. No! Stop! Everybody, stop!
Maybe it's time we hung one of them.
No! Let him go! All right, the march is off.
What?
Listen, if he's telling the truth, then we won't accomplish what we set out for.
That's it, Sam.
So Sam's willingness to put his body on the line there has persuaded Nathaniel that the Klan are going to wait and ambush them.
During that clip, I wasn't sure if I I was particularly happy with Sam using we when referring to the Klan.
And then punching Nathaniel for no particular reason.
In any case, Al confirms that what he's done here stops Nathaniel being killed that night, but Nathaniel himself states that they will march in the future, they will win, which Sam agrees with.
Yeah. Back at his house, Lily is surprised to see Sam back so soon.
Yeah, she's lounging on the porch, and I think she's up for a bit of a romantic fun.
Well, she knew about the party to start with, it wasn't that much of a secret. And yeah, she is, but Sam wants to have a conversation instead.
Yeah, he's more interested in Ada. And
well, not in that way.
And when he brings her up, we have it confirmed that she's definitely a despicable racist, as she lists numerous cliched fears and prejudices.
At the very least, she's been brainwashed. She talks about, yes, all sorts of conspiracy theories, like they have the NAACP and we're all on our own, and they're going to, but the Klan are the only ones fighting for us, and we don't want these people moving into our neighbourhoods and bringing down the value of our houses and
our shacks,
marrying our women and taking our jobs. It's the same lines that still get used today.
Of course it is, yeah.
Garbage.
He tries to, again, talk sense into her. Now, yeah, we've said this before, does he think she's going to agree?
He uses his typical method of grabbing her by the shoulder aggressively and forcing her to hear his truth.
But he is cut short by the sound of a gun being loaded and turns to see her unhappy father and Tom.
Yeah, well, they're very well aware that he did not show up at the courthouse, and neither did the marchers.
They accuse him of warning Nathaniel, who didn't, as you say, turn up. And when Lily tells Sam, or pleads with Sam to deny this, he does not, and states that he couldn't see innocent people murdered.
Jean says that he has defied an order, or the order, and Tom calls him a traitor.
Yeah, he talks about the order of the Brotherhood and all this nonsense.
Most holy white people. Anyway, yes,
no, it's not just a traitor. They menacingly claim that he was an undercover spy.
For the, for them.
Yeah. Sam doesn't deny this either, and Tom says that they are going to have to send a drastic message to his coloured friends.
To show everyone that this is a white man's world. Well, it still is today.
Things are looking bad as Al turns up with the shocking news that they are going to blow up a church, killing 15 kids and 2 adults, including Ada.
Meanwhile, over at the church, we hear the children's choir singing around a piano.
We do, although we should say that as they have a sort of stare down at the end, and we see Cody peering out. I think he's been listening in. He peers out from the doorway.
Can you see Al? Is he too old? It's not really. We don't know.
We don't know, no. After a brief shot of Ada and another adult singing with the kids in the church, as you mentioned, we cut to Sam. He's in the Klan shack. He's tied up on the floor.
Yeah. Grady threatens him, the ginger guy, and Jean shouts Grady over and sends him out before talking to Sam and telling him once again that he's always liked him and respected him, even if he didn't always show it, and he knows that his daughter and his grandson love Sam a lot, but all that he's doing is trying to show him that he's willing to protect his part of the world and his family.
Yeah, right.
From an imagined threat.
Yeah, actually I'd like to say as well, before that, Tom sneers at Sam, calls him a white N-word. I mean, that's worse than a normal N-word, apparently.
It must be tough as an actor to be told, yeah, you're the guy for this role.
Yeah, you look the part.
Like a Klansman.
And I also think he says that being a white N-word is the punishment for that is death.
Yes, they do say that, but after everybody else leaves, Sam tells Jean that he's risking the future, and if he gets killed, there'll be nobody to raise Jean's grandson. And Jean tells him he's not going to kill him, you obviously don't know me, and Sam says, I don't know anybody who's willing to blow up a church.
Yeah.
And then Jean makes a weird comment saying he's not just any man.
No, he's not. Well, any man wouldn't blow up a church. He's a
dragon.
Man, a half dragon.
A royal grand dragon.
After he leaves, an anxious Al appears and tells Sam to hurry up and get out, as the church is destroyed in 7 minutes.
It's quite clear that Sam won't make it, but he has a good idea.
What's that?
He sends Al to the church because there's children there who will be able to see him.
Ah. Yeah, Al, I think, is unsure at first until Sam reminds him of what they can see.
So, Sam picks up this glass sign to try and break it and get some sharp bits to cut his ropes. Meanwhile, Al heads to the church where he is recognised by the children, as we heard at the top of the show.
Yeah, they confuse Ada by stopping singing on his arrival and having a bit of fun trying to decide out who or what he is. Outside, we see the Klan pull up in their trucks, while at the shack, Sam looks to be in trouble as he is still bound.
However, there's a moment of possibility for him as Cody shows up at the door.
Yes. Meanwhile, Al has managed to get the excitable youngsters to scream and shout and run from the building, with the adults following on.
We now see Sam and Cody in a car heading to the church, but too late.
Yeah, as he jumps out the car, he runs up to the door, and as he approaches, there is an almighty explosion, which blows him back and causes Cody to scream for his father.
At this point, Lily comes over and picks Sam up and says she tried to stop them.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Did she? Al, however, is able to... Well, as Sam shouts for him, Al comes round, having saved all the children and the adults.
Nathaniel rushes in at this point and sees the destruction and the gathered clan who are standing there admiring.
And probably sees his mother, who could have been killed.
Exactly. He's obviously raging and they're admiring their work. So he charges at the group, but starts to take a beating, which immediately leads to a lynching as he's strung up over a branch by a rope.
Which he just happened to have.
Yeah, which is attached to a truck.
Friends, I stand before you in the name of justice and of the holy white race. This man has tried to destroy our way of life, and now he must pay the ultimate penalty.
I agree with the Grand Dragon. I agree with the Grand Dragon 100%. I think we should hang this man. Tie this off. While we're at it, I think you should hang me too.
Sam, have you gone completely crazy?
Daddy! No, Daddy, you gotta stop this!
Because I don't want to live in a world where fear and hate hide behind a call for justice. Where men, women, and children, born as free as you and me, are denied, among other things, the right to vote. And if they try to do anything about it, you hang them. Or you blow them up in a church. They're so proud of what they're doing, these dispensers of justice, that they have to hide behind masks to do it. Cody. Cody, you look at me, son. This is not justice. This is merely a desperate attempt to hang on to the past, a shameful past that can never and should never be restored.
Fortunately, Sam's wee speech cures everyone of their racism.
Well,
except for Grady.
Yes, I quite liked it in the clip there, where he has this plea. Grady says, "Yeah, it's fine. I'll kill you as well, then."
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't expect that.
It's the one thing he didn't want to happen. Gene, however, knocks Grady out at this point, saying he's lost one son, doesn't intend to lose another. So that's a thread they've picked up from the opening scene. Al, at this point, tells Sam he's done it. He's cured racism, and America's future is bright.
And as Lily and Cody hug Sam, Al wraps things up by mentioning that Lyndon Johnson passed the Voting Rights Act, and Nathaniel became one of the first black mayors of Alabama. One of the first. That doesn't sound as if it's very groundbreaking.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah.
No more racism. Everybody's glad. Sam leaps.
Well, yeah, he gets a hug from Nathaniel.
Yes, his good friend.
His white saviour.
And yes, he leaps into a hairdresser.
Yes, into a salon where he's struggling with a dye job, and he gives a kid permission to go to a friend's house, only to be reprimanded for this as a gunshot is fired.
Oh dear. That's the end. What did you think?
Well, firstly, the old racism back out. I'm getting a bit fed up with.
Well, he's fixed it now.
Yeah, that's sorted. It was a decent episode. I do like a bit of a Klan-based TV show or movie. You know, Mississippi Burning with Gene Hackman was very good, and the John Grisham.
Yes.
A Time to Die, No Time. The one with Matthew McConaughey.
That's a Columbo episode, isn't it?
Matthew McConaughey one. A Time to Kill.
Yes.
Yeah, good episode. Yeah, so I do like this sort of theme, this type of, but it has to be an 18 rated one where you can really get down to the business end of it, and this just always felt a little bit lightweight.
Yeah.
It's a bit superficial, and then the throwing in the language just on top of that,
it's just to give the illusion of, and we'll come to that maybe with the writer. Anyway, a few little points I wanted to bring up. Did you think any of these Klan members were anything more than caricature villains? Did you get enough from the scene where they were wanting to help each other with the farm and stuff?
Not really. And also, I think the thread about Jean's brother dying wasn't really developed enough. Son, yeah, wasn't really developed enough to make that a believable ending.
Talk about not being developed enough. Nathaniel should have been in this episode a lot more than he was.
Yeah.
If he's going to be the target of this thing, you know more about him.
It's all about the white guy, Sam. That's what racism is all about, the white man.
The one other thing I thought is that exploding church looked very expensive for one shot.
It was impressive, yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't expected.
It was a different church from the one that they blew up in The Colour of Truth, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. Was it stock footage maybe from a movie?
No, because you see Al bringing the children in the side of it while it's on fire.
Yeah, that could be a fire part. The actual explosion might have been a stock. I don't know.
Any other thoughts before you rattle on with the trivia?
No, I mean it was an enjoyable episode.
But it's a good episode.
It was.
It just doesn't achieve what it sets out to achieve, but not for lack of trying.
No.
Okay, originally aired 9th October 1991, back when we still had racism. It was directed by Rob Bowman, his only Quantum Leap. He also worked on shows like Star Trek The Next Generation, did 13 episodes of that, particularly in the early days when there was a lot of controversy about the writing room there. The X-Files did 34 episodes of the X-Files. And he was the executive producer and did a lot of directing on the ABC drama Castle. He's now 63, his last screen credit was 2020, but I suspect he's probably still working. The writer was a woman called Toni Graphia. This was her only Quantum Leap, but she's also written for things like Melrose Place, Battlestar Galactica, and the controversial Outlander.
Okay. Why is it controversial?
Well, there's a lot of criticisms, I think, of the way that certain things are portrayed in that, although more for the writer of the books than for the writer of the show, maybe. She lectured at Glasgow Caledonian University, as well as a few American colleges. She's now 63, still active. Lily was played by Lisa Waltz. No relation to Christoph, as far as I'm aware. Her only Quantum Leap episode, but she's also in things like The X-Files, ER, Castle, Fear the Walking Dead. She's now 62, still active. Nathaniel was played by Michael Beach. His only Quantum Leap. He's a Juilliard graduate. He's been in so many things. He's very prolific. Things like True Romance, ER, Sons of Anarchy, Saw 10, Mayor of Kingstown, amongst many, many more. He's now 60, still very active.
Saw 10. Jeez.
Or Saw X, I presume it's 10, yeah. Ada was played by Fran Bennett. This is the first of 4 Quantum Leaps for her.
Really?
Yeah. I think the other 3 are...
3 racist episodes.
The other 3 are trilogy parts, 1, 2 and 3, which we're still to come to. She's also in things like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, ER, Alf, Star Trek The Next Generation, and Murder, She Wrote. She died in 2021 when she was 84. Dirk Blocker.
What?
He played Tom, the bald racist at the courthouse.
Blocker?
Dirk Blocker.
Oh, Dirk Blocker, okay.
Yes, he's Tom, the bald racist at the courthouse. He's only in this episode of Quantum Leap, but also appeared in things like The X-Files, ER, Little House on the Prairie, and 153 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes, I know he was a sort of him and his partner, they were sort of minor characters, but yes, now you mention it.
A lot, yeah. He's 66 now and he's still active. Grady was a well-known face, Glenn Morshower, his only Quantum Leap, but he's well known, like James Morrison last week, for his role in 24. He's also been in things like Transformers Dark of the Moon, Transformers The Last Night, some other Transformers movies, Star Trek's Enterprise Voyager, The Next Generation, Star Trek Generations, the movie, Air Force One, X-Men First Class, ER, many, many more. He is now 64, still active. Noble Willingham played Gene, his only Quantum Leap, also in City Slickers 1 and 2, Home Improvement, Murder, She Wrote, Ace Ventura, Star Trek The Next Generation, and Good Morning Vietnam, amongst other things. The only one that I've mentioned that's not in ER. He had a master's degree in educational psychology. Died in 2004 when he was 72. Some trivia. Some stations edit or skip this episode due to the language we've discussed.
I can imagine, yeah.
6th episode where someone other than Sam is able to see Al as a hologram. Can you name the other 5?
No.
Can you remember the stories?
No.
So you got Another Mother, where it was the child. Leap Home Part 2, where it was the woman who was about to die in Vietnam. Little Miracle, when it was the Christmas one with the guy, and he did Last Dance Before an Execution, and Shock Theatre. Now, did someone not see him in Boogeyman?
Don't know.
Anyway, I'm not sure. That's what I've left off. In terms of things that we learned, Sam was brought up to be anti-racist by his parents.
Surely that's just sort of standard.
No, some folk are doesn't get mentioned at all.
Okay.
So to be specifically fighting against it, as he says, is a thing. On this date, 11th of May 65, Ellis Island added to the Statue of Liberty National Monument. Not sure you add an island to a monument, but
yep, the Rolling Stones completed.
I can't get no satisfaction.
Yes.
West Germany established diplomatic relationships with Israel, to the great upset of a number of Arab states. And the following week, Gene Roddenberry presented the studio with an initial list of 16 possible names for the captain on his new concept of Star Trek.
And what was it?
Kirk was one of them.
Right, okay.
And West Ham won the Cup Winners' Cup.
On this day?
The following week.
No, I'm not. Where you go? I'm cutting that.
No, we're having
West Ham the following week.
There was actually lots more interesting stuff that month, but it was much later on.
Okay, the number one in the US was Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter by
by Sam.
Herman's Hermits. And in the UK...
Herman's Hermits?
Yep.
That's a reference. We've had them. The guy from Herman's Hermits was in the episode.
Yes, he was the rock star one.
The manager.
Yeah. And in the UK, the top song was Ticket to Ride by the Beatles.
There's a lot of Beatles movies in these 60s episodes. Next week, we've got Permanent Wave, where Sam has to set a few perms and save a key witness to a murder. So we'll see you in 1983.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.